Welcome back, everyone. We are getting into map 2 of Tactical Throwers versus Colossal Gaming. Tactical Throwers playing Breeze out very well, perhaps better than the stats looked like to Colossal Gaming as they won that one 13-5. Now we're going into Haven, which is Tactical Throwers map choice. So it seems really tough, Cute Noob. I don't know if you have an idea of what Colossal Gaming can change here, but I think we can agree this is going to be a bit of a mountain to climb for Colossal Gaming.
I have one thing and one thing only. You gotta bring out the chamber. If there is no chamber in your agent pool, I don't know what to tell you. I feel like you have to. It's like a must-have.
Pretty much. It seems to be general consensus. I know we do have some pro teams kind of trying to move away, and Riot's tried to nerf him multiple times, but
I like that.
it doesn't seem to be catching. So do you agree, Alias? What can we expect from the map here?
I tend to lean more on the side of you don't always have to have a chamber. I will say, specifically with what it seems like Colossal like to run, going purely based off of the couple games of Ascent that I was able to pull stats on from yesterday, I do think we're going to be seeing the chamber, especially since I think we might be seeing Aliora switch over to the Rays. I'm not entirely sure about that, but their Ascent comp featured a Rays in a chamber, and I feel like if you're going to run Rays on one map, you generally tend to run just Rays as your primary duelist. Obviously, you're not going to do that on Breeze, which is why I assume we saw the Aliora Jet. And I think it's interesting because Satyr also plays Rays on Haven, going back to the two games of Haven that I was able to pull for Tactical Throwers. So we might be seeing the chamber come out for both sides for this map, but also seeing a Rays, which I'm very interested to see how players like Satyr and Aliora, who seem to play extremely aggressive, but also didn't seem to necessarily be using their dash as a get-out-of-jail-free card all the time, but instead just help take space. I'm interested to see how that playstyle shifts for them specifically if they both end up going over to the Rays.
Okay. I think you were kind of hemming and hawing about this during the break, but on Haven we do have Tactical Throwers bringing in the Sky very commonly. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, they do bring in the Sky based off of the couple maps that I was able to pull. I'm very curious to see how that works in terms of the Initiator nerf. Obviously, Sky is still a very fine agent in what she does. She flashes, she gets info gathered just very efficiently. But as far as playing that more aggressive style of Initiator, I still tend to favor KO or even just not necessarily running an Initiator in general. And I feel like Sky isn't necessarily going to be the best pick for any specific task. You might be able to get more aggressive on a KO or more supportive on a breach. But for Tactical Throwers to have won both of their maps on Haven, and for Sky to have been a relatively large part of why they were able to do so, I'm assuming that they probably know a little bit better than I do in terms of what Sky brings to the table for them specifically.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna find out once the players are actually ready. But I think we need a couple of more minutes. So, Cute Noob, any thoughts on the potential agent select for Haven?
So from what I remember, because we did cast them yesterday, it was the Fade and the Rays together that was super impactful. Specifically, the Ray Satyr just, oh gosh, once Satyr felt comfortable in their skill, once they started getting that fuel, it was so hard to stop Satyr, and it was because of Satyr that Tactical Throwers won their matchup against their opponents. So I think just having that combo of having two initiators, which is going to be the Fade and the Sky, because I do think that they're going to be doing both, is because not only can you use the utility to help one another, but you're also going to be blinding, and that's what was really impactful in their previous round. Was they were continuously blinding the back of sight, they were continuously blinding the entry, and I think that's where Sky's going to be really potent, as well as having an Astra. I believe that they had an Astra yesterday.
I think
I
so.
slept and my memory kind of faded. It's the Cheeto dust, guys. Definitely the Cheeto dust. Don't you worry. But
Astra
yeah,
on a
so
set
having
moment on
also
Haven.
exactly. So yeah, having that Astra gave that kind of same idea of the seas. But I think we're ready to go, zombies. So I'm gonna let you guide us in there. I'm not gonna do your job for you.
That's all right, guys. Yes, Agent Select is ready to go. So let's go ahead and see if they choose similar to yesterday or there's some surprises today.
Let's go. So map number 2 here, Alias. What are you thinking so far? How does this agent pool look to you?
Yeah, Tactical Thrower is just running the exact same comp, but instead of the Rays, we're actually going to be seeing Aliora on the Neon. Meanwhile, we're going to be
Mm.
seeing the Breach coming out for Zoe, and I really like the synergy that we have going here for Colossal Gaming, especially with that Breach and the Neon. It's a very potent combo that we don't see used a lot in higher level play as much anymore, but you might be able to remember when Optic was just absolutely tearing people up running
Mm.
Breach Neon on maps like Split and, of course, Haven. There's a lot of merit to having Breach and Neon play together, especially just because Breach tends to be a more supportive agent, and Neon just tends to be a really good agent in terms of taking advantage of the longer range support that he can offer. So
Mhm.
I'm very excited to see how Colossal Gaming approaches this, especially if they do decide to keep that aggression up, like we saw towards the back half of Breeze.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I haven't seen a good neon in a hot minute. I expect us to see neon when we had a little bit of pearl in our map pool, but unfortunately, no one has got the wits to that. So having Ellie Aura being able to come in here and be like, "All right, I'm gonna give off a little bit more of a spin to this map." I'm really excited. Just like you stated, it has been successful. Breach also, I feel like Breach, even though hasn't been the chosen agent overall is still a very viable agent. So to have Zoe go from the KO over to the breach, I think it's going to work hand in hand. Zoe did phenomenal on that first map. Unfortunately, the team wasn't kind of flowing together, and Tactical Throwers definitely brought up a fight. But I think just seeing Zoe be able to really function on this breach is going to be instrumental to the stoppage of the aggression of Tactical Throwers. Because, like I stated before, Tactical Throwers are a team that they want to go to site, and they're just not really into rotationing a lot.
Yeah, I think we'd be remiss to not bring this up, but we are going to be seeing Kayla on that chamber. No more Cipher. We're going to be seeing that chamber come out, and that
Mm.
honestly seemed to be one of the bright spots when I was able to go back and look at the stats from the first couple of maps that we saw from them yesterday. It seems like when Kayla is on the chamber, when they're able to take those very aggressive first duels, they do successfully, or they do relatively well. And Aliora also tends to do well, as we see there.
Oh man, Allie said, W key initiated. I am going in, ladies and gentlemen. Kayla gets caught out by Starry taking the orb. The rotationings are coming quickly from both of the squads. Talk about fast and furious. The bomb not quite in the site yet, but two of the tactical thrower teammates are there already zoning out Bunny, who was thinking, I could probably get a cheeky pick here if I just stay put. But no, that dark cover really helped out. The bomb's getting planted after shock to reposition. Does some damage to Eoz, but thankfully Juna Ford is there to make sure that their teammates' backs are really covered. Bunny with the, Starry with the bunny hop onto Zoe, and tactical throwers there. They were looking a little shaky with that initial pick, but I mean, overall, they got it done.
Yeah. I I want to touch on something that I don't think a lot of people noticed there. I do really like the idea, or I do like the choice by EOS to go for the heal there instead of purchasing a different bit of utility, potentially. Having that heal on a pistol round does help a lot in that case. And they have the prowlers, they have the blinds, and it's not like Sky doesn't get a blind anyways, just with her starting utility. So I think having that heal just to help make sure that fights go in your favor is a nice touch that Tactical Throwers went ahead and implemented.
What else is a nice touch is the fact that that Prowler did not catch onto Zoe, instead focused on Eliora. So it's a little bit of a bait. I sure do hope and pray. Okay, there is that second Prowler. I was gonna say, I hope that people check their corners, because that may be very common sense, but you know, sometimes common sense isn't common sense to other people. Sator gets onto the site, Satchel's away, gets the elimination. Zoe finally being caught out in that corner, and the spike is going to be nice and safe over onto this A site.
Yeah, a little bit precarious there as Zoe was able to get the pick even despite the couple of Prowlers coming their way, and also get their hands on a Bulldog, but ultimately the Headhunter just able to get the job done, and it looks like Tactical Throwers are setting themselves up for a very strong post plant. One way coming in, there shouldn't be much of a way for Evie and Kayla to fight back in, though Kayla does still have 3 bullets in the Headhunter.
I am afraid. Okay, no. Eos says, don't you be afraid. We are going to be A-okay. I was going to say, I don't know, Caster Curse could come in.
Some of the positioning seemed like it was about to set me up, specifically for the one in Graffiti, but ultimately not going to jinx anything like that this round. Yeah. I do like the decisions that we've been seeing from Colossal to get aggressive, take advantage of the Neon and the Breach, and it seems like they're not going to stop. They're just going to keep looking for this on A. But ultimately, it needs to not get too predictable here. There is a lot of A main control to be gathered, and a lot of util being expended to make sure that they actually can hold this. But it seems like Tactical Throwers might be aware that the rest of the map isn't exactly at its strongest right now. Bunny's going to spot one, and I think she'll be spotted in return. But that just means that the B site is going to be completely free for Tactical Throwers to take.
Okay.
And now, even with the weaker weapons, they're set up in a 5v5.
Yeah, this is very, very interesting. Kayla, patience over an art to Garden. There's a couple shots connected, but unfortunately it was Kaya who comes out, or sorry, Kayla who comes out on top. Eoz is aggressing onto a Link, but there's a blind coming through. The double swing for both of Colossal Gaming, and a little bit of an expected round, especially since the weapon advantage was in the hands of Colossal Gaming. And yeah, you mentioned Zoe being able to survive with 1 health. Talk about good luck.
Just a lot of very fortunate duels being taken by Colossal. Just great heads-up awareness by Zoe, getting the counter flash off just in time to actually save their teammates from a very awkward fight. Ultimately, a lot of weapons are going to be held. Damage being done in round doesn't exactly translate to damage being done to the economy in that situation. So Colossal is going to manage to hold on to almost all their rifles. Bunny going to drop down to a Spectre. But meanwhile, Tactical Throwers, they're in a very good position right now. They're going to be able to hopefully catch Eliora out right here. And even with the Breach Stun coming in, it looks like Junifor might be able to get their ultimate up.
I was a little bit worried about Aliora's position there. I was like, there's no way they don't check that, right? But that Prowler, definitely there. Hunt destroyed. Gives away some notice that, yes, indeed, there is someone around the woodworks here. But the thing about Tactical Throwers is they are always going in packs. And this being all 3 of Tactical Throwers over onto Long. Bunny gets 1, but it's going to be the elimination there going forward for Tactical Throwers. Only 1 left. It's looking promising for a second. Not for long. Zoe gets zoned out by those nades, and it's going to be a retake. Just 1 lonesome Zoe. A lot of utility in the back pocket. Checking every single angle. Pivotal Point is going to be able to take these 1v1s, but that's not going to be given easily.
Was that a blind headshot? I don't know if Sato was fully blind from that, but it definitely looked like she was able to start shooting
Yeah.
a little bit earlier than like a half blind would intend.
I think it's the vision before the flash. So
Oh,
they were
true,
able to
true, 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 true,
see,
true.
and they were just placing their crosshair exactly where they saw the flash. So it was like a perfect headshot. Yeah. Doesn't happen for me, but it happens for Satan. Yeah.
Yeah, every so often you get one of those, and you're just like, man, I'm so good at this game. And then you get just like blind opt through smoke, and you're just like, oh, yep. Anyways, pause coming out for Colossal Gaming. They do have the Fade ult to work with, but ultimately, it seems like a lot of their defensive strategy for this map has been just try and take space with that Neon Breach combination. And unfortunately, tactical throwers, especially with the Sky, have a composition that is set up very well to help deny and re-clear the space that does get taken by Colossal Gaming. And even if they don't, what Colossal's been doing most rounds has been just leaving Kayla alone. This goes all the way back to Breeze as well. But either way, they're leaving sites just very, very sparsely defended. And because of that, Tactical Throwers has essentially about a 1 in 3 chance to just choose the right site to hit. And it looks like right now they might be setting themselves up to do just that.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh! Aliora slides through the slide, doesn't come into fruition. It's going to be the shutdown. Thankfully, though, as we know, Chamber's able to get away, Kea is able to collect a 1, and now Evie's left thinking, I'm just gonna back it up here and hold off. Regroup with my teammate that is getting absolutely aggressed on by Satyr. That was an interesting satchel. Satyr finds Kayla, and Seaside is free.
Spike planted.
Yeah, just a share for Evie now, left in the 1v4. And ultimately, Tactical Throwers just playing that really well. They have their chambers set up to hold for A. They have a couple of other players go and help try and take some space towards C. And most importantly, Kea just plays to stay alive there. She doesn't get greedy. She doesn't try and take a whole bunch of fights knowing that she is the better weapon. She just spots a lot of aggression and gets out. That's exactly how you want to play it in that situation. And the discipline coming out from Tactical Throwers there ultimately nets them a major advantage at the start of that round.
A little bit of frustration, I feel like, for the side of Colossal Gaming. We do know that that was their save round, but, I mean, they have so many ultimates here. How would you like for them to use it?
Ultimately, it
Tear them down.
might be in their best interest to just mix it up. Maybe don't get as aggressive this time around, and instead just rely on your Breach ult and your Neon ult and your Fatal for retake. Alternatively, those are all also very good ults if you want to go for some crazy play and just try and take a lot of space very quickly. But it does look like Colossal Gaming is just gonna cut noise this time around.
So that Prowler did give away the position of one of those Colossal Gaming teammates. I think the Omen was nice and safe behind that dark cover. So this could be potential beneficial situation here for Colossal Gaming if this garage area is where they decide to go. A haunt being thrown mid, Bunny destroys it, so gives away location. A seize to buy some time. And you talked about ultimates being popped out. This might be, especially if Tactical decides to go mid, a good use of them. But no, instead, they're going to go right into the hands of Kayla. A Bunny hop through for the fade. And the patience coming out from Kayla is not rewarded. Starry teleports into the back of
30
a
seconds left.
site. So they have full control now, but they have to be worried about the CT. Kayla finds a connection finally, praying, hoping. Eliminates the Sky, so no blinds to be available, and this is where the ultimates are gonna create the most impact. Rolling Thunder, but in return, a showstopper that connects. Also, Palpatine Fingers coming out. Starry finds 2, and now it's just down left to 1. Aliora was hoping that they could make the difference, sliding onto the site, but that was not the case. Tactical Throwers, they were ready for everything and anything.
Yeah, I really like the call coming out from Tactical Throws. coming out from tactical throwers there, starting the site hit, or starting over towards that B site, because you know that even if you do have those ultimates to play retake with, you can just sit off site on B. There's a lot of room for reflanking. There's a lot of ways that you can just spam the spike diffuser. You're not really in a particularly bad situation if an ultimate's used to clear site. But once that hit fails, instead they just back off, they peel around the map a little bit, hope and prod, and eventually stumble across a site that just has the chamber left to defend it. And once they get that spike down, even with the ults online for Colossal Gaming, there's not that much that they can do if Tactical Throwers just sits back and holds their positions well enough.
Not much that could be done there. We see that once again here, over onto this A. So much utility being used. The fast lane was used. There was also some smokes. There was also some stuns. Now some prowlers being invested. Ali baiting out a lot of utility coming out from tactical throwers. A Haunt as well coming out. And Aliora finally finding what they desired. But unfortunately, they get shut down just as quickly. The sandwich, how we say this, whether it was peanut butter or peanut butter and banana, it worked. It was great. It was delicious. Tactical throwers, they were able to get the site and they were able to get the bomb onto it, but they're not stopping there. A blind coming through for Kayla. They want the kill. They want the blood, and Kayla says, no, 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 I am not the one to mess with. Kaya now being the last of tactical throwers. The spike not in their position. Now needs to fight for their life. Only 14 seconds. For the force, still having some bullets in there, and a thrifty for Colossal.
Yeah, it's extremely unfortunate that the Tasmanian Tiger doesn't clear out Kayla there. If that happens, Yaz maybe is able to take the fight to Kayla with perhaps a flash. They had the paranoia from Starry there a little bit after, but ultimately just unfortunate in the long run. If the Tasmanian Tiger is able to spot Kayla there, then I think that tactical throwers were probably trying to just push through site, not even bother with the pinch coming out through A main. But ultimately, they just run into the tour de force, and Colossal Gaming gets their second round on the board.
Oh,
Ooh.
funny. That was an unfortunate little swing. You're always like, yeah, I got this, and then you get shut down, and you're like, okay, maybe that wasn't the play. I gotta rethink.
That's a lot of info going down as well, because that is your fade. And now Aliora's play is going to get caught out there. There's only so much that the fast lane can do in that situation. Eevee's lurked up again. It does well to get two! And ultimately, this is still a 2v3 in favor of tactical throws.
It is, but oh my, every single time they don't clear short, they get punished. And that was the second
Even when
time
they do
around.
clear short sometimes.
That's hey, true. I agree. Eevee there, definitely making a difference there for Colossal. Oh my! Zoe pulling out the best stunt moves ever. The swing from Juniford says, all right, you got a good one. That's all you're gonna get. And now the swing through. Kayla finds one, making this a 1v1 with an operator. Unfortunately, switches off, and Satyr peeks through. And it was looking promising for Colossal there, Alias, but I guess not.
Yeah. Ultimately, just a great start to that retake. It pains me a little bit to see Kayla pull out the Sheriff there. I'm not sure if she had any Headhunter bullets, but either way. Ultimately, though, Colossal Gaming did well to work their way back into that round, and it shows that they do have a lot of potential in terms of these retakes, but these aggressive plays, I'm not seeing what I want to see in terms of actual results for the aggression. They're taking a lot of map control. Kayla actually does well to find one off the map, off the Breach Sun, but
What?
ultimately,
Why?
it just keeps leading into trades like this.
I am confused. I mean, yes, they have the weapon disadvantage. I get that. And you're just like trying to get through this round, but they're just feeding. Everyone's just like, let me peek.
I don't even know if I'd consider that feeding.
My turn.
I think that's just a whole bunch of trades that just go slightly awry. Kayla gets one, then the Omen blind comes in just a split second too late for Eliora to be saved. It's the ideas are all there. It's just the execution is just barely not on the same page, and tactical throwers are eating it up.
I'll find you.
So many of these early
Still
rounds, even when they do lose those first picks, just don't seem to go their way. Or do seem to go their way, actually. Even
Yeah,
going back to
attack.
Breeze, I don't know if you spotted it, but Eliora on the Jet had 6 first bloods. And yet they only were able to get 5 rounds. That's an insane conversion rate for tactical throwers in terms of rounds where they were able to still win despite not getting that first pick. I think they're just doing a very good job of actually trading it out.
Oh man, this is definitely a little bit frustrating for Colossal Gaming. Let's see if maybe this operate in the hands of Kayla could be it. It could be an answer to what tactical throwers are about to throw their way. Nightfall gonna come in nice and early to make sure this garage control is through there. Kayla is caught out. I'm sorry, Starry is cut out by Kayla. And look at the positioning from Eliora. I don't know if they're cleared there by this flank, but the site has been taking Eliora able to catch out Kaya, and now it's down to just one player, Juna Ford, who started the round with the Nightfall. Now needs to gather the spike, clear out the operator, able to do so. Now making this a 1v1, knows one's long, doesn't know where the Omen is. Instead, Prowler, very nice. Connects, gonna push through, finds the head. Now making their way all the way over to A with enough time. And not only that, but only 23 health on Eliora.
Just the read's perfect for Junifor right there.
Spike planted.
I'm not sure if she's the IGL, but certainly playing like it. That's just knows exactly what to do in that situation, and a crisp headshot closes out a 4K round that ultimately Colossal Gaming played extremely well. Sure, there was a whiff or so for Kayla towards the start of the round, but the ideas were there, the positioning was there, the rotations even came in, but ultimately Junifor is just able to claw her way back into that round, has just enough util left to actually figure out the best plan of action, and tactical thrower is just able to convert yet another round.
Oh man. I'm not gonna say it, Alias, because we don't jinx. But with the gather of that orb over onto C, these seekers are available for tactical throwers.
Yeah. And if you can get by this round without having to use any of your ultimates, except like maybe the From the Shadows or maybe the Tour de Force, then you're in a really good position. But instead, tactical thrower is just going to pop this Seeker just to make sure that you're actually not insured this round per se, but you have a much better shot at it. Kayla going to be in a very precarious situation, gets spotted out by the From the Shadows, but ultimately Junifor able, or not Junifor, Kay able to take out Kayla.
Oh man, this is gonna be Eliora being able to collect one
cutting
overdrive in hand. Eos
not cutting him
finds Ali. Good flick. That was really nice.
And now look, Colossal Gaming has to respect the rotate, but also has to respect the rehit. They've done, their tactical throwers has done such a good job at reading these mid rounds that Colossal Gaming forced to split up their players a little bit to help take map control, and instead, tactical throwers is just going to have the C site for almost nothing.
No trademark was cut out. Dark covers to go on to Long, Starry, and Kea able to collect that CT rotation. Now they have to worry about the garage. They know that at least someone is around there. 16 bullets. 5 bullets to be specific on EOS now as we take it into a 2v1. But the perfect swing from Kaya eliminates Zoe, and Tactical getting that 9th point on the board, bringing us to the last. They still have that tour de force and potentially able to gather 2 more ults if they play their cards right.
Yeah. I think they're just going to start this round off by looking to get Juniper that orb towards C long. Getting that Nightfall, even if you don't necessarily want to attack on C, is still going to help. But Colossal Gaming, it seems like they're ready for it. They're going for another aggressive, or it looked like they were going for another aggressive play from this Neon Breach combination. But instead, it looks like they back off at just the last minute, instead opting to keep that Breach in a position where he's still able to be alive to use his ult in the late round. So Tactical Throwers are able to get the orb for nothing. Just a smoke and a Prowler.
Definitely beneficial. Tactical Throwers maybe hoping that they could get a little bit of a rotation with the sound they made over onto A short. But the patience from Colossal Gaming, they're just going to hold onto every site. And that's something that we haven't seen too much in the past. You know, we see early rotations. But because Tactical Throwers, they want to go onto site instead. It's going to be C, where we do see that Ellie is still there with an operator in hand. Connects for 1, looking for the second. Unfortunately, doesn't go their way. Satyr throws the perfect paint shells to connect and a satchel to gather the site control. They haven't cleared back. I mean, there could possibly be someone there. So we're going to use a guiding light to be like, okay, we're good. We can plant the bomb.
I haven't cleared Garage, though.
Oh man, Rolling Thunder, the retake, the bomb does not get planted. 20 seconds on the board, they have to fight. This is a go, go, go situation. And Kayla and Bunny, they got the message. Defenders are able to capture the last point and 9-3 at the half.
Yeah, by not having Garage clear, Colossal is by having Garage for themselves, Colossal is able to mount a very quick retake. They have a couple flood out of Garage, they have a couple flood out of CT. The Breach ult obviously helps a lot, and by the time the bomb starts to go down, it's already essentially too late for them. Colossal is able to just disrupt the push, disrupt the plant, and fend off the re-hit coming out from Tactical Throwers there. And ultimately, I really like that Zoe decided to play back by saving their Breach ult for later in the round. They were able to make a play that ultimately won their team the round and gave them a little bit of extra momentum going into this half, where their more aggressive composition can truly start to take effect.
Let's see if this is the case. Fast lane to cut off any unfortunate angles. Starry, though, plays directly in it. Finds one. Oh, this dark cover is interesting. I'm sure that they crossed each other's paths, but they weren't able to. It's going to be Starry just spamming through it. And just like that, Tactical Throwers say, defended, sighted half. We got this.
Yeah, Starry just ultimately proving to be a massive thorn in the side of Tactical Throwers. 17-6 going into the second round of the defensive half, currently leading the scoreboard by a considerable margin, and ultimately just playing extremely well on an agent who doesn't always get the best, or doesn't get the most time to shine, but when you see a good Omen, that's always a treat to watch.
That is definitely hard eyes. I've always loved Omen. What I don't love is getting stunned, just like Kaya did.
But
Interesting
there's no
choice.
Space being taken off of it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm really surprised that nobody swung off of that stun to try to get something out of it. But instead, gathering space mid. It's gonna be the call here for Colossal Gaming.
Yeah, even with the decision to posture players over towards mid, by not having someone take advantage of that stun, you're able to just leave Kaya on this A main angle. She's relatively certain that nobody's cross, and even if she wasn't, she still has a trademark back her up. But it seems like Colossal is just getting boxed into the C site, and Starry is in a position where she can easily cut off rotates, but Kayla's going to cut off Eoz instead. Now there's the Spectre being retrieved, but Starry in a phenomenal position right now.
Oh my gosh, Starry, so patient. Here's the footsteps of the Omen, able to eliminate now. That's gonna be 2 weapons in the hands of Tactical. Oh, shotgun for Satyr, finds one. We've seen paint shells do damage. Can they do some more now? Might not be the case here as Kayla stays onto the site, knows that Satyr is in garage, peeks through. It's going to be the Marshall coming forth, as well as that Spectre. Aliora playing the long angle. They have some Marshals. It's going to be the Judge! The Judge from a long angle connects, looking for the skill onto the spike. Nope. Tactical throwers are able to clear out and retake site.
Push no button. Save the day.
Yeah, it gets a bit hairy ultimately, ending up in a situation where one Marshall shot could have taken out both of the remaining players on tactical throwers, but at the same time, they just, even with the less than ideal circumstances, tactical throwers was able to get a rotate in quickly enough to where Colossal Gaming couldn't necessarily retrieve all the weapons that they wanted to. Zoe's able to take out Starry on the other side of the map, but it ends up just being for a Spectre that gets dropped relatively quickly after because she's not in a position, or they're not in a position where they're able to fight for their team. So Colossal just ultimately getting outpositioned, it feels like, in most of these rounds. And I hope that the timeout that they take addresses that in some shape or form. Because especially with a Neon, and like with a Neon, a Breach, and a Fade, you really shouldn't be getting out positioned as much as you are.
It's true. They should be gathering a little bit more information. I mean, you have, like you said, the Neon to really close up those corners to get fast onto site, which we saw, right? We saw them do onto C, but it was just how well Starry did at playing that back of sight and not really giving up the whole space. So I think it's also hard, and we have to mention the fact that Tactical Throwers has played this map time to time again, so they have the experience. And we talked a little bit about how Colossal Gaming is a brand new team, not looking to do the same strat that previously worked wonders for them, or at least gathering the space onto C. You are able to get onto the site, but they still have to worry about backup site where Zoe connects with Starry and Yaz. So that's two of the players being eliminated.
Spike
Woman
planted.
advantage. Definitely there, but we have seen this be lost before. Bunny saying, all right, no, we're not going to allow that to happen. A Prowler to try to enter onto the side, Kaya, with just a Sheriff in hand. Or I believe that was a Headhunter there. Unable to do much, and Juna Ford now left with the Spectre in hand, and possibly just getting some exit frags here at this point.
Yeah. Ultimately, the faster take working out very well in that situation. I think Zoe ended up being the lucky benefactor of an errant shot that happened to land in Starry's head as she was sitting in the smoke. So Colossal do manage to get their fourth round on the board. They do take advantage of this quicker timing, and more importantly, they found something that seems like it has a chance of working. That's a sight there. That's a take that they were able to pull off relatively successfully well. I mean, not even relatively, just it's a flawless round victory for them. But they didn't have to expend any ultimates to use it. They don't have any ultimates. If they can find ways to replicate that for A, B, and just continue to have that for C, then they have options here. Unfortunately, Kaya has just restricted them a little bit by dealing with Bunny there. That's a lot of information that's being lost.
Oh, man. A smoke to cover off CT. So to get into the site now, it's going to be a Prowler with some nades adding on to that mix. Some satcheling from Satyr. Unfortunately, is not rewarded in any case. That seize was good on Aliora, but that late swing comes through. A blind is going to be what rewards Colossal Gaming that round.
Yeah. And there we do see one of the downsides of bringing Sky on instead of Breach. Your A-site retakes are going to be a little bit trickier. You don't have the stun, you don't have the Aftershock to help clear out angles, and while you do still have the Flash and you do still have the Tasmanian Tiger, the Tasmanian Tiger isn't exactly something that's going to recharge, and the Flash can be a little bit harder to use, especially now with the Initiator nerfs. So I'm very curious to see how Tactical Throwers adapts their setup in order to help counter any potential hits.
We have an answer for you, Alias. A Bucky and aggression towards mid. I hope that was nice and to your liking here.
It's not the answer I was looking for, but I will never
answer.
be disappointed to see
my
a Bucky, and I'm
gosh.
never going to be disappointed to see any shots like the ones that Satyr just hit.
Satyr says, I don't need a Bucky, I don't need a Vandal, all I need is a Sheriff in hand to take us over to match point.
Yeah, this town is not big enough for both teams, and Satyr looking to make sure that it is her team that moves on 12-5 in favor of Tactical Throwers. And Colossal Gaming does have ways to potentially maintain this fast pace. They have a couple of very impactful ults, and it looks like they are going to go back towards the C site, but ultimately, Tactical Throwers just looks like they're on the right page with each other. For the most part.
I mean, Allie definitely has some sort of plan, being able to get into this garage, and now the C site is free as can be. An Odin in the hands of Juniford. It was not the call, at least for this round. There is a couple of ultimates in the back pocket of Tactical Throwers as they use this Trailblazer to get onto the site. But with having this woman disadvantage, I don't know if that's going to be what Tactical Thrower wants to do. Satyr does find a headshot here. Now, though, having to worry about the 4 remaining, a blind and a dark cover to really zone out. Knows that Bunny might be logged, takes a couple shots, connects, but not enough to do damage. Oh, Bunny gets a whiff of death, and unfortunately, it's hers in return. Now it's stun, and the bomb seems to have gone way too far. Satyr just at this point trying to get some type of eliminations.
Yeah. They were able to get out with the quick speed of Neon right there. And only one ultimate expended by Colossal there. It's just something that's very nice to see. You have the Breach ult for future site takes. Your ultimates are starting to cycle quite nicely. Kayla's going to have the Tour de Force here in case you do lose a couple more rifles than you wanted to. Obviously, there's not going to be really any economic swing at this point in the game, because if one more round is going to end the game. But you do have ultimates that are going to come online at very impactful times, and with this ultimate cycle in particular, if used correctly, this Breach ult is going to be super helpful.
It's going to be instrumental repositioning of Kaya off of the site. That means the rest of the team needs to give it up. It's going to have to be a 5-on-5 retake, but this lurk from an Omen, possibly being able to avoid that trademark, could be wonders for Tactical Throwers. Kaya being able to get the elimination off of Allie is going to be meaning no Neon running around. Showstopper also connecting onto Kaya, and now the lurk is surely on their way. A little strolly. It's taking a little bit of some time, but the double satchel comes through, and there is the elimination. Wait. It was a teleport from Zoe that really helped out Colossal Gaming there.
Yeah, I think the From the Shadows being used at just the right moment after Hell was already cleared to just put EV in a position that Tactical Throwers were not expecting anyone to be in. Between that and Zoe just staying alive on site somehow, despite a Raze flying over their head and an Omen coming around on the flank, Colossal Gaming do manage to secure themselves at least one more round. I would say likely to, but A, I don't want to jinx it, and B, we saw what happened the last time the Tactical Throwers were put onto an eco like this. It was not very pretty. This take, however, does seem to look a lot cleaner. The spike goes down 5v5, which still definitely benefits the stronger weapons, and Kayla just going to make things even better for their team.
Play, let's play.
Oh my, they were able to avoid that trademark, but not for long. Bunny able to collect 2, doesn't know though that Kaya is right on the corner with the Tour de Force. After shock repositions, and it's just down left to Kaya with the operator in hand. Goes through a smoke, peeks through the smoke. Kaya times the perfect timing on Zoe, but now needs to worry about the 3 remaining players. There's not enough time. Death is going to be long.
get the gun because of the the slow field surrounding the player that was killed. Just really unfortunate timing for Kea. Ultimately, they were able to still pick up the gun and get the kill in the end, but the round's not going to go in their favor. Now, though, Colossal Gaming has the Fade ult yet again. This is where that ult cycle starts to get very nice. If you can get the bomb down, then you should have a Breach ult for that next cycle. But what happens when those ults run out?
We hopefully don't have to talk about that, is the wish of Colossal here. Starry through the smoke. I want a count of how many kills Starry has got. Nightfall, as you mentioned, coming through, but so many of Colossal Gaming players have gone down through the smoke. Starry is not going to give up. Says, hey, if I can get one, I could potentially get two. Don't you worry. Finds Kayla, who's very low on health. So this is going to be the call to rotate over to a new site. But as we know, tactical throwers, they like to settle onto their sites.
Yeah, and tactical throwers aren't going to rotate any at this point. They still have the two players prepared for this re-hit that looks like it's going to come in. But even if the re-hit doesn't come in, you've got a player early towards B. You've got Kea just watching in heaven. I think they might have an operator to deal with as well. But ultimately, just a really disciplined approach being taken by the tactical throwers. Unfortunately, Yaz is going to go down. Kayla finds one, Juno4 finds another, and we're left in a 1v1 on the site, but a 1v2 proper. Prowler doesn't spot.
No, there was a teleport, but the time is ticking. Evie must go now. A blind for backside. A teleport, but is going to teleport right into the hands of Kea, who gets the last elimination. And tactical throwers, they take it home. Welcome back, Zombie.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, Tactical Throwers ends up taking the 2-0 to win that best of 3 and move on in the brackets. Their next opponent is going to be Sanrios. But let's go ahead and recap what has happened with this series, with this last game. It ended up being a little bit closer towards the end, right? I feel like there was something being figured out there for Colossal Gaming. Alias, would you agree? And what was it that just didn't come on time?
Oh, absolutely. I definitely think that if Colossal was able to get a little bit better of a start on their defensive half, then their more up-tempo offense really stood a chance against Tactical Throwers' more disciplined playstyle. But ultimately, it did seem to be that disciplined playstyle that came through in the end for Tactical Throwers. They didn't get caught too off guard by anything. They trusted their retakes, and they trusted in just their ability to play well off each other.
Mm-hmm. And I guess Cute Noobs, any last thoughts on the map we just saw there?
I think that it was a valiant effort by Colossal Gaming. They, you know, like you stated, they definitely were figuring things out more on the attacking side of half, but unfortunately the defense was just a little bit too rough. Tactical Throwers were able to get so many first bloods from the get-go, or if not that, then they were able to buy so much map space throughout the rest of the map, and they did that with, I feel like I didn't see a lot of opping coming out from the side of their chamber, which I would have liked a lot more, but hey, I mean, if you don't need it, then I guess you can just win it with your sheer vandals, and that's what happened at the end of the day. So
yeah, Colossal Gaming not quite able to show up here in this month's quarterfinals, but or actually farther than that, round of 14. Anyway,
16, but yeah,
16 with a couple of buys, so it's always the weird one, but right, yeah, so they are not able to make it to the quarterfinals, but Tactical Throwers are. And Alias, actually, I'd like to get your opinion on this. You know, we're going to talk about more about the upcoming series, which will be Sanrios and Tactical Throwers after this break, but I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts before we head there, when it's so fresh in your mind. Did you actually end up liking the Tactical Throwers composition? I know you kind of remarked on that Sky not having quite the same capacity of a Breach, so do you think that Sanrios will also kind of agree and see a flaw in their play on this map?
I do think that the Sky has a little bit more merit than I initially gave it credit towards, but in terms of just sheer versatility, I still think I would have liked to see a breach. It turned in terms of everything that Sky brought to the table, I feel like we could have replaced it with a breach and had roughly the same effect. Obviously, though, Tactical Throwers' more disciplined playstyle does lean in towards a little bit more that recon that Sky can do. And I think that was definitely an invaluable part for them. But specifically for some of their A retakes, I think I would have liked to see the breach have, or I would have liked to see a breach instead of the Sky, just to bring on a little bit more aggressive displacement. But either way, Tactical Throwers still played really well. Iaz played really well in the Sky, and I don't think I'd take her off of it if it was comfortable for her. I think it's just different teams approaching the map in different ways.
Yeah, might just be different strokes for different folks, as they say. But I think we'll discuss that point a little bit more if the map comes up again, which still remains in question. But guys, we are going to be going into our last best of 3 of the night. It's going to be Tactical Throwers, our winners of the last best of 3, against Sanrios, who was able to win against Adore Esports. So we'll talk about that as well as the overall bracket after the break.
You don't need to be Prince Charming to me. I just need this to be real. I don't need no fairy tale. You don't need a kill a dragon for me. Ooh, I don't need no fairy tale. Still, every time, whatever it is, I keep on trying. 'Cause it ain't hard to forgive when you know what it's like. That's why I'm better with